Welcome back, everyone. Today we're off to Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, to talk about the Hittite dynasty. Let's get into it.
In the olden times, way before Greece and Rome became famous,
There was a super powerful empire in Anatolia, which is now Turkey. This empire was so strong that it fought against Egypt, destroyed Babylon, and made the first peace treaty in history. They were really good at making deals with other countries. But these days, almost nobody remembers the Hittites. That's why today, we're going to learn all about this cool and important empire that's been mostly forgotten. The Hittite Empire started around 1700 BC, when groups of people from the Indo-European family moved into Anatolia and mixed with the locals. It built little kingdoms or city-states, but one city became the most important. Hattusa, located in central Turkey, Hattusa became the center of the Hittite kingdom. People lived inside strong walls and built awesome buildings like temples, palaces, and places to keep their records. They kept thousands of clay tablets with all kinds of writings on them, from myths and legends to laws and rules. Now let's meet some of the most famous Hittite kings. One of the bravest kings was Murseli I. He led his army far away to Mesopotamia and attacked Babylon. This was crazy, because it was like a team from Turkey going to do battle in Egypt, and they did it around 1595 BC. Just imagine how shocking it was for the Mesopotamians to get attacked by a team from Anatolia. This showed everyone that the Hittites were super strong and not to mess with. But the Hittites' biggest rivals were the Egyptians. There was a big fight between them at Kadesh in 1274 BC. It was one of the biggest chariot battles ever. Neither side won. But after all the fighting, they decided to make the first peace treaty ever. King Muwatalli II from the Hittite Empire and Pharaoh Ramses II from Egypt signed this treaty. They wrote it in two versions, one in cuneiform and the other in hieroglyphs. The Hittites were so good at making deals that they kept making treaties with lots of different countries. This helped them keep peace and stay friends with many powerful kingdoms. A copy of this amazing peace treaty is still hanging in the United Nations building as a symbol of how important it is to make deals and keep peace. Now let's talk about a very special Hittite queen named Putuwepa. She was married to King Hattusa III and was a big help in dealing with other countries and making sure people followed the rules. She was also a priestess, so she led religious ceremonies and festivals. Some people even say she was like a curler, because she had so much power and influence. So remember that the Hittite Empire was huge and had lots of different kinds of people living in it. It had a mix of local people from Anatolia, people who came with the Indo-European tribes, and people from Mesopotamia and other places who joined the empire. This made it a really diverse place with lots of different cultures. And what kind of empire would this be if we didn't have some awesome gods to worship? The Hittites believed in a lot of gods. It's more than 1,000. They took the religions of the people who lived there before them, like the Hattians and Hurrians, and mixed them with the religions of Mesopotamian, like the Mesopotamian gods. Some of their most important gods were the storm god Tarhunt, who was like their king of the gods, and the sun goddess Irina, who was a mother goddess. They also had lots of myths and stories that were popular, like the Song of Kumarbi, which told the story of how the world began and how gods fought for power. These myths and beliefs spread to other places and even became part of Greek mythology. Speaking of myths, you might have heard the myth of Gilgamesh. Well, believe it or not, the Hittites also had their version of this epic tale. In their version, the main character isn't Gilgamesh, but Enkidu, a wild man who goes on adventures and learns important lessons. This shows how similar stories can pop up in different cultures. Maybe because people all over the world think about the same things. Let's talk about the Hittite legal system. They left behind some detailed laws that tell us how they solved problems and kept order in their empire. Unlike the harsh laws of Hammurabi, the Hittite laws were more about fixing problems and making things right than punishing people. For example, if someone stole an ox, they didn't get put to death. Instead, they had to pay the owner back with interest. Same with fights. The idea was to make things fair and keep the peace rather than just giving out punishments. It's like going to court today. Judges try to make things better rather than just blaming someone and shouting at them. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any more adventures through history. Now back to the Hittites. The Hittite army was really strong and well organized. They liked to travel fast and in big groups. They drove three-horse chariots pulled by teams of horses. These chariots were perfect for chasing enemies and quickly moving across the battlefield. The Hittite soldiers would attack in groups and were really good at using bows and arrows. They were known as fierce fighters, and their chariots were scary for their enemies. Anatolia was also one of the first places where people learned how to use iron. This was a big deal because iron made stronger tools and weapons. Some people think the Hittites didn't actually invent iron tools and weapons, but they were definitely one of the first to use them. They were really good at making iron tools and weapons, and they traded them with other places. When the Hittites used iron tools, they could farm better and make more food. They also used iron to make stronger weapons and armor, which made them better fighters. Other groups of people learned how to use iron from the Hittites, and then they spread the idea to other places. So even though the Hittites aren't known for inventing iron, they were really important in helping people learn how to use it. Sadly, the Hittite Empire ended around 1180 BC. There are a few reasons why this might have happened. Some say it was because of attacks by groups of mysterious sea peoples. Others say it was because of fighting over land and resources or big problems like famine and drought. Then there was the big Bronze Age collapse that happened all over the Mediterranean. All of these things probably made the Hittite Empire weaker, and eventually it fell apart. After the empire fell, people stopped living in Hattusa, and the city was abandoned. For a long time, almost nobody knew about the Hittites or their amazing empire. Their name only appeared in the Bible, and people forgot all about their amazing history. However, in the 1900s, archaeologists found the ruins of Hattusa and realized just how important the Hittite Empire was. In 1915, a smart Czech expert named Bedřich Rosner figured out how to read the Hittite writing. This was a big deal because it turned out that the Hittite language was the oldest Indo-European language that had been written down. This helped experts understand how languages change and develop over time. The Hittite Empire lasted for many years and played an important role in the ancient world. They were one of the most powerful empires in Anatolia and had a big influence on the countries around them. They fought against big powers like Egypt, made the first peace treaty in history, and were really good at diplomacy. Sadly, most people have forgotten about them, but they deserve to be remembered as one of the greatest empires of the ancient world. So what other lost or forgotten empires would you like us to talk about next? Let us know in the comments section below.
Thanks for watching.
Remember to subscribe for more exciting adventures through history. We'll see you next time.